Watch and burn.
Hey everyone, so today I want to discuss Friday the 13th Part 3. Now inevitably I'm going to probably do 2 videos about this movie. I'm going to do the first one, this one here, about the movie in general, and then I'll be looking to do another video about what happened to the final girl, Chris, when she was attacked by Jason a couple years prior to the events of Friday the 13th Part 3. What he did to her, because usually Jason just kills people and somehow she was left alive and she has no recollection of what happened. So that's going to be the other video I'm going to do. But yeah, so with this video here, I will just be straight discussing the movie. Now this, to me, this is when Jason sort of he started to develop his sort of superhuman strength, because when he was in the first movie, he was playing his mother, of course, so he wasn't very strong because he was a middle-aged woman. But then when Part 2, when Warrington Gillette, I think, took over, Jason did get bigger. He was big through the shoulders, right? And so Jason got more intimidating, and I really like Sackhead Jason, but it's in this movie where Jason seems to have that sort of hulking physique of like a professional wrestler, you know? He got so big and so intimidating that he just seemed to be kind of unstoppable. And that's because he's Jason Voorhees and he's kind of unstoppable. But yeah, like I said a minute ago, this tells the story of Chris and a bunch of her friends. They go up to her parents' old cottage where she's not exactly comfortable because of the attack that took place with some deranged man from a couple of years prior. She's trying to sort of reacclimate herself to the surroundings. She's trying to cool off, fit in. And her boyfriend Rick is there, and he's so desperate to have sex with her because that's all men are in these movies, are these like endless fuck machines who are only seeking sex. Which pretty much means later on, Jason's gonna squeeze the eyeballs out of his head. And one of them's gonna shoot forward right into the camera because after all, this movie is in 3D. And this is back when 3D was still a gimmick, but it wasn't like it was, what was that, 2013, I think, around there, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when everybody was pushing 3D TVs again. And they were garbage because who wants to sit in their living room with fucking sunglasses on? But yeah, this was from a time when 3D was still exciting. A bunch of movies did this. I know Amityville went 3D. Jaws 3 was in 3D. This movie did 3D. And it's really fun and it's exciting and the kills are great in the way that they have like things coming out at you. And at this point, like I said, this was a big deal. When I was a little kid and I got to see this and I had the 3D glasses on and everything was coming out, I'd never seen anything like that before. So it was like really stimulating. But the gore is amazing. This is, of course, where Jason gets the hockey mask. He gets it off Shelley. Shelley, who I felt so perpetually awful for. He's disappointing to the chick who, she's like, which one's mine? And he's like, sorry. And it's like, oh, poor Shelley. And so he's trying to like equalize his lack of social abilities because of his personality mixed with how he looks, by being some sort of prankster where he's not bad with effects, so he's always playing dead or he's always fucking with people that way, but inevitably all he ends up doing is getting on people's nerves, including Jason, who's been watching him from the shadows, of course, and that's why he decides to do him with fucking take his mask. And he probably didn't like the way the chick treated him, and that's why he did her with the harpoon, put it right through her eye. But yeah, I also loved the bikers in this. I loved how they tossed that element in. And had Shelley and his not girlfriend not fucked with the bikers at the beginning, the big biker, the dude, wouldn't be there at the end to kind of throw Jason off his game and come back for some revenge, which totally helps Chris and actually saves her and gives her like a second wind, and it gives her the opportunity to get the better of Jason. But yeah, this one, like I said, the gore's amazing. I love Rick getting his skull crushed. I love the dude walking on his hands when Jason comes down with the machete and chops him in half. That's probably my favorite kill in this movie. I loved the hippies. I loved how useless they were because hippies are useless. But like I said, I think my favorite thing about this movie is just how Jason, he got so big. And this, of course, would be something that would remain for the rest of the series, as all of the actors playing Jason would just seemingly get consistently larger and larger, and as if he wasn't intimidating enough. But then you toss in the fact that now he's an actual giant, and you have like a recipe for like a mass murder perfection type situation there, where you're cooking up a recipe for slaughter, and Jason is the best person to sort of facilitate this, because Jesus Christ, is he strong, and fuck, is he single-minded. You know, he just goes after everyone who's on his hunting grounds, like, with no mercy whatsoever. And I love how these movies have aged incredibly well. I love how the opening theme and the score overall for this movie seems to have a disco vibe. And here it is, like 40 years later, and it still works. The Jason movies, the Friday the 13th, at least the first 7 of them, the 8th one is the fucking made-for-TV movie as far as I'm concerned, but we'll say the 8 of them, despite the fact that they all take place securely in the 80s, they've aged so well, especially part 6, that they seem kind of timeless. They almost kind of have that Disney effect. Like, you know, kids rally around and watch Bambi to this day for some reason. They can do it with this. You know, they can do the same thing with these. These movies, they genuinely feel timeless. And I love how no matter how many times I see them, they still feel fresh, and I'm still excited. And I'm like, oh yeah, dude, part 3, that's the one with Chris where Jason did some weird shit to her in the forest and we don't know what it was. And I love how I still get just as excited as I did like the first time I saw them back when I was like a little kid. That's important. I think that's a testament to the strength of this franchise. And despite the fact that they've unfortunately been caught up in that, the lawsuit between Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham. And so that means there will be no new Friday the 13th, which I think is on one hand good because movies suck now. But on the other hand, it would be nice to have another Jason because like Kane Hodder pointed out, another Friday the 13th would mean that this is actually the 13th Friday the 13th. If you count the remake and Jason 10 and Jason X and everything. But look, I'm going to go because I've been rambling way too long. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for 8 minutes. 8 minutes while I discussed or attempted to discuss coherently Friday the 13th Part 3. Like always, if you like this review, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. But most importantly, please don't forget that the world is a better place because you are in it. I'm going to go. Have a great evening. Have a great evening. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe, and we will see you guys really soon.